Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name's Nicole and this is Dusty Book Sniffers, and today we're here for Tag Tuesday and we are doing the quarter year crisis tag. So let's get started. Good evening everybody and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for taking some time out of your day and spending it with me. As I said, we are here for Tag Tuesday and the tag that we are doing is the quarter year crisis tag. We have 8 questions and the 9th one is to tag some new to you booktubers. So that has been a lot of fun checking out some new ones and that I'm going to mention, but we'll get into that a little bit later. First and foremost, the original creator of this tag was Rosin's Reading. Now, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. I hope I did, and I'm sorry if I didn't, but I will link up all her information down below. You can go and check her out. And of course, we will have 3 new to me booktubers, and they'll be linked up down below too, so you can go and suss them out and show them some love. All right, so as I said, we have 8 questions to get through. I'm going to get straight into it. This is the quarter year crisis tag, which I've already said, so I didn't really need to say that again. But the first one is, how many books have you read so far? Okay, so at the time of filming this, it is a couple of weeks into April, I have read 56 books so far. My goal was to read 100. I usually set it at 100 because I can generally read 2 or 3 books a week, but I set it at 100 each year. And this year I am ahead by 27 books already, and that has a lot to do with the Women's Prize for Fiction long list. If I hadn't have read that, I definitely would not be at that point. I would only be at around 40 books. So I'm pretty happy with what I've got done so far. All right, the next one. Have you already found a book you think might be a 2023 favourite? If not, what is your favourite book that you have read so far but wasn't quite? So there's 2 parts to that question. All right, so see, now this is a toughie. I have read quite a number of books that I've really enjoyed this year, but I am going to go with a non-fiction is my top so far. And that is The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. Now, I've talked about this a couple of times on the channel already. I've already done a review. If I remember, I will link it up down below or put it on the cards up here. Generally, I forget to do the cards, so it's probably going to be linked up down below. You can go and check that out. I have mentioned this several times on sprints. I have talked to everybody that I know about it. So it is my favourite book so far, and surprisingly, it is a non-fiction. Now, that recommendation come to me from a Flo from the Great Jelly Library, and because I have a wheel spin that I do every month, and so basically she was the winner of January, and we read that back in January, so that was pretty good for the first cab off the rank. We done really well with that. It was a 5-star rating for me as well, and it is so far my favorite, but there are many other books that I have read this year, and so yeah, so I don't really have to do the second part of that, because it says, if not, what was your favorite book you read that wasn't quite a 5-star? But I'm going to answer that anyway. I have had several books that have been 4-star reads this year. In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. Oh no, that was a 5-star read. So that was see, now that could be a favorite too. Let me just think on my 4 stars for just a moment. I'm going to bring them up. So I've got Storygraph open right now, and let me just have a look. Okay, so I have 4 that have been 4.5. I'm just opening up the page. All right, so I'm going to give you those books. All right, The Tenant of Wildfell Hall is a classic, and that is by Anne Bronte, and that is really, really close to being up there with Jane Eyre. I actually really like Anne Bronte's style of writing, and I gave her a 4.5. And I've read that in January as well. I just recently read Shadow Man, and I believe that vlog has gone up, so you can go and check that out. That was Monday's vlog, so yesterday's vlog that went up. That is called Shadow Man. It is by Helen Fields. It's the first time I've read that author, and I thoroughly enjoyed that story. It is very dark. It is fast-paced. it's a thriller, and it's got some creepy stuff in it, and it's got some interesting takes on the profiler as well. She's got a disorder. I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and I gave that 4.5. The other one, which was one that I read for my Read Around the World Australian leg, which was The Dry. It was the first time reading Jane Harper, and I gave that a 4.5. It was fast paced, it was dark, it was mysterious. It was very like tense, like, you know, trying to work out who'd done it and all that sort of stuff. It is actually part of a series, so if you haven't read, you need to start with The Dry. And then I've also read Force of Nature by her. It wasn't quite a 4.5, wasn't as good as this one, but still good. And then there's Exiles, which is the third one, and I'm not sure if it's a trilogy or not, or whether it's a continuing series, so I don't know much more than that, sorry. And then one I've just recently read was a cozy mystery. It's by Jacqueline Winspear, and it is called Maisie Dobbs. Now, there is 17 books in this series, and I'm starting that. I'm just waiting for the second one to come in the mail, and so that is going to be my morning read for the foreseeable future. So you will hear more about them, and it was a solid 4.5. There was just a couple of little things that let it down for me. Nothing really technical or anything like that. It was just, actually, there wasn't a lot at all. It was just a couple of little things, and off the top of my head, I can't even really think about what they were, but I'm sure I mentioned them in a vlog, and I'll link that vlog up down below. But there's 4 other ones that weren't quite 5-star reads, but these are some of my favorite books so far this year. All right, the next one is, do you have any 1-star books or least favorite book of the year? Okay, so this is where we're going to come into the Women's Prize for Fiction. We had several books in there. Now, I will link up. There was a few that were 3 stars, and then I didn't give any a 1 star, but they should have been DNF'd, the books. But because it was the long list, I wanted to read them all, so I was giving every book a fair go. And I'm just trying to think what they were. It was, I don't have them here in front of me, but The Children of Paradise. I cannot think of the author on that. Let me just bring it up. I'll just bring up the books that I've read because they're fairly recent. I'm loving Storygraph. This is the first time I've been on here, so it's really good to find all the bits and pieces and everything that I need for this tag, which is absolutely great. Now let me just get down to it. Where are they? They're just loading up. Okay, they're the last 4 books that I read, last 3 books that I read. So the first one that I just mentioned then, which is Children of Paradise, I ended up giving this a 3 star, but this was actually probably closer to, and the only reason it got a 3 star was because there would be people out there that would really enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it. I would have DNF'd it. But the 2 books that I did give a definite 2 stars to were Homesick by Jennifer Croft, and it was just terrible. I just didn't like it. I just didn't gel with it. I didn't give a rat's backside about the characters or anything like that. I didn't. And the same as with Cursed Bread as well by Sophie McIntosh. So those 3 books that I just mentioned, and now I know that I gave Children of Paradise a 3 star, and I gave that a 3 star because I know there are a lot of people out there that will really enjoy it, and I didn't want to rate it down and someone that I know would enjoy it not read it, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that would enjoy it. It's fast paced, it's mysterious, it's dark, it's got a lot of toilet talk in it and stuff like that, and that just doesn't do it for me. If I had picked that up, I would have definitely DNF'd it. So technically it should have been that would class it as a 1 star because it's a DNF. Homesick was confusing because it had memoir if it was in America, it was just plain Homesick if it was published in the UK, and it was a boring story, so I gave it 2 stars. And Cursed Bread, I didn't really care for the characters or anything like that. And these were all very short books as well. Cursed Bread was 184 pages, Homesick was 256, and I think 200 for the 208 for Children of Paradise. They were all like 2-star ratings for me. I don't generally give 1 star because if it's a 1 star, I've DNF'd it. But because I've read these, I've actually I've given them a star rating because they're part of the Women's Prize for Fiction. All right, the next one is Most read genre. All right, let me just go back to my stats page and let me have a look here. Surprisingly, my most read genre, which I have read 16 books in, have been literary. Then it's mystery, and then historical fiction, and then thriller. So I've read 16 books in literary, and the reason why is that if I click on that most of them will probably come up as the Women's Prize for Fiction. Although we've got a couple of classics in there, but most of them on there are all from the Women's Prize for Fiction. So I've just brought them all up. There's 16 of them, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 that weren't on there. So 12 out of the 16 were literary. So taking that out of the equation, mystery is my next one, and I've read 12 books in that. Then historical fiction, they are both on 12 books, so they're pretty much equal, and that is because I seem to be in a bit of a mystery. A lot of the books I've got on my shelf still are mystery, whereas last year a lot of my books on my shelf were romance and historical fiction and all that sort of stuff. Now, that is going to dramatically change when I do my reading, my May Kindle Unlimited read, where I read everything on my list, because over time I add things to that list. I obviously read things on it and then take them off and add things on. So when May rolls around, whatever is on there, that's what I've got to read for the month, and I clear that list off and then I start again. And then next May I'll do the same thing. And then the next one is thriller, which has 10. So I'm not really surprised by that figure. All right, so the book that most surprised you, that is actually quite an interesting book. I did not think I was going to like it. It sounded interesting, and it sounded like it was going to be a fun read, because again, this was on the Women's Prize for Fiction. Now, I can actually have two on this one. One is the non-fiction, which was the The Immortal Life of Henry Lacks. That totally surprised me. That blew me away, that book. And that's why it's my favourite book. The next one that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I was quite surprised by, was The Bandit Queens, which was on the Women's Prize for Fiction. That was such a fun read. And I've done the first vlog for that is up on the channel, and that was the Women's Prize for Fiction long list first vlog. And it was the first book that I talked about. So if you want to go and see that, you don't have to watch the whole vlog, because I know that they're hour long. You can just watch the first part of it, and that where I talk about Queen Bandits. So I'm not going to talk too much about it. Other than that, I haven't had too many others that have surprised me so far. I pretty much knew what they were when I was going into them and stuff like that. But those two, actually, The Tenant of Wildfell Hall actually was quite surprising as well. I was not expecting it to be written that way. It was very that was the moment I fell in love with Anne Bronte and her writing, and it's such a tragic story that she died so young, because I think we would have got some exceptional books from her, and I think she would have outwritten her sisters by a long shot. It's just sad that we didn't get more from her. I've also read Angus Gray by her as well, and absolutely loved it. And I believe there's more works out there of hers. I haven't got to them yet, but my plan is to get to more of her works. I love all the Bronte sisters, but Anne Bronte, I really love her style. So yeah, that was so I've given you 3 on that. I don't ever a lot of these questions, it's like asking me to choose my favorite child when it comes to my books, and so it makes it very hard. So you can always guarantee that you're going to get a few answers from me, because that's just how I roll, people. All right, a book that comes out in 2023, or that has come out already, that you want to read but haven't yet. Now, that is Pip Williams, the bookbinder of Jericho. I read her I don't think it's out here. It's on my already read shelf in my library. So I read her book, her first book, a couple of years ago called The Dictionary of Lost Words, and I absolutely love the way she writes historical fiction. That one was centered around the birth and creation of the Oxford Dictionary, and so I was very interested as a reader and lover of words. I was very intrigued by that story, so I picked it up, and it was an immediate 5-star read for me. Like I knew probably a third of the way through that it was going to be a 5-star read for me, and I revisited it this year because in anticipation of her book coming out, I revisited it in February because I spun up historical fiction and I just want everybody to read that book. So I thought, well, I'll put that up even though I had already read it, and I reread it, and it's still a solid 5-star rating for me. And it made me cry the first time around, and it made me cry even more so the second time around. Some of the content in it was handled so well, like so well. When you read a lot of books that it's just not handled well at all. Like it's just like all doom and gloom because a certain thing happens or whatever. But it was just handled with so much love and dignity and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, I digress. I am looking forward to reading. It's come out, and it's only just come out in the last couple of weeks. And I was in the bookstore the other day, and I seen it there, but it's in hardcover. I don't want it in hardcover. Unless I can find the Dictionary of Lost Words in hardcover to go with it, I'm probably going to wait until it comes out into the mass market production book paperback. So so that the Pip Williams, the bookbinder at Jericho, I'm super excited to read that. I knew it was coming. My friend Chrissy told me that it was coming out. I think at the end of last year that she had a new book coming out, so I've been super excited since then. So that is my most anticipated one. Of course, it is historical fiction, so it's my jam. What can I say? All right. Next one is one goal you made that you are succeeding at. All right. Now let me just go back to my goals page. My reading goal for 2023 was 100 books, and I am at 56 books. And I'm 27 ahead of schedule. The other goal that I made for this year was 40,000 pages. I thought I was being a little bit modest in that, but so far out of the 56 books, I'm halfway to that goal. So I think I was on par for that. And I sort of just looked at how many books I wanted to read, and I had a look at my average rating, because I exported all my stuff from Goodreads over into Storygraph, and that gave me the last 2 years, because I've only been on Goodreads for 2 years. That gave me the last 2 years of my reading stats. I've been on Goodreads for a long time, just watching and looking and getting book recommendations, but actually like being part of it and putting like a goal and what books I've read and all that sort of stuff has only been the last 2 years. So I took my average read from the last 2 years, which was the 350 something pages or whatever it was. And then I put that as one book a week, and then I think I doubled it on that. And and then I ended up with and then I rounded it to the nearest 10,000 or down to the nearest 10,000, and I got 40,000. I think that's what I done. I'm not 100% sure, but I've ended up with 40,000. So I am succeeding at both of those goals. So I'm 27 books ahead for my actual books read, and I am 8,849 pages ahead of where I need to be. So far I've read 20,575 pages this year. That is a lot of pages. Now, one other goal that I had that I feel like I am succeeding at is to, for my bingo rounds, is to choose books off my physical shelf and or Kindle are the first two stops. The physical is the first stop. I endeavour to get them all off there, and then the second stop is Kindle, and then the third stop is audio. Now sometimes I will already have audio for books that I have on my shelf, so I'll do the both, but I count them as physical because I do immersive reading. I actually sit down and read along with the audio, so I count them as pages. So while I do a lot of audio books to help me get through books quicker, I'm still reading the physical pages because I'm reading along, and so pages are in there. I have also looked at like audio as well. Like I've developed a few tags and stuff on Storygraph, so I know which is actually an audio. So far this year I've read 9 books that were just audio, purely audio, which works out to be 13%. That. So yeah, so I'm pretty happy about that, and 68% is print. So those goals there I am thriving at, which I'm really good. So far it's been really good, but we all know, if you've been following me for a while, that the end of the year can take a really sharp turn, because that's my busiest time of year, because I have retreats and all that sort of stuff. So come August time, my life gets really, really busy. So I do tend to get a lot of reading done in the first part of the year, and then the second part of the year it tapers off a little bit. All right, one goal that you need to focus on. Okay, so I made a goal at the beginning of the year that I wanted to do more of my Read Around the World challenge. I really need to focus on that, because I'm reading it alphabetically, which I think that's been a little bit of a roadblock for me. And I wanted to make them a little bit more interesting. So basically what I decided to do was I took a step back and had to think about it. Now I've got Azerbaijan to still read. I don't have the book out here. I started it last night. It's on my bedside table. So that is the last country for A's, is Azerbaijan. And I still haven't put up Austria yet either, because what I decided to do, and I was talking to a couple of friends about it, is taking it from just talking about it to taking it to a vlog. So what I thought I would do is incorporate the most popular food from that country and make it. So I've got to get some more lights for my kitchen, because my house is very dark. Like you can see behind me, that's without lights on in my house. It looks like nighttime. So basically it's very dark in my house like that all day, and the lighting in my house is not crash hot, because I've got 12-foot ceilings, which makes it very hard to illuminate down the bottom. So I've got to get some more lights for that, and set up my kitchen a little bit better for filming. So Neroli, my youngest daughter, and I have been like looking at the kitchen and seeing how we can set it up so we get the light from the roof as well as some studio lights, and we're getting extra ones, so I don't have to take these ones out of here all the time. So yeah, so that's why I've been a little bit slack on that. So that is one goal that I'm trying to focus on a little bit more, but I think I've got it now. I think I want to go to vlog style and incorporate that sort of stuff. Leave me a comment down below and tell me what you think of that idea. All right, so that is the end of the questions. Now what we need to do is tag some new booktubers to me. So I just need to bring them up. So I'm just going to pause for a second, bring them all up so I get their channel names right. Of course, I'm going to link them all up down below as well, but I want to make sure that I get their channels right. I'll be back in just a nanosecond. I'm going to tag 3 new booktubers to me. Some have only just sort of popped up on my radar in the last week. Well, one has actually only popped up on my radar in the last week or two. So, but the first one I'm going to talk about is Sarah Y. She has 214 subscribers. She is absolutely lovely. I've been joining some of her reading sprints, and she does reading sprints with friends and stuff like that. So that has been super exciting. So I'm going to give a shout out to her. The next one is Jenny Reads with a double S, and it also has Jenny_Reads. She has 73 subscribers, and I just love her just the way, like, I just love her vibe, and I love watching her. I've been watching quite a number of hers, and her latest video, which was 3 days ago, is TBR Vets, the 10 oldest books on her shelf. That was really fun. I'm halfway through watching that. So yeah, so far there's been a few books on there. I'm like, oh, I wouldn't mind actually reading that. Anyway, and the other one that I just discovered recently is Dark Violet Dreams. She has 66 subscribers, and her video that she put up 2 days ago is Old School April vlog. So she must be participating in Old School April. She has a very interesting, I've only just found her, and so I'm still going through her catalogue, and I'll just bring up how many videos she's got. Let me just give me a chance. She has 10 videos, and I think I've watched a Tag Tuesday, which is your Booktube tag, and I'm halfway through Old School April. As I said, I've only just found her. So yeah, and she is a wife and a mum of 6 and an ink drinker. So yeah, and her channel is Dark Violet Dreams. So go check them out. I really liked watching those 3 channels. They are my most recent finds. Sarah has been around a little bit on my radar, a little bit longer than the other 2. Jenny's probably been on my watch list for at least a month, and as I said, Dark Violet, I've only just found her in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, go check them out. They're fun channels. I really enjoy watching them, and hopefully you enjoy watching them too. But that is the quarter year crisis tag. I have waffled on for 25 minutes. Can you believe it? Oh my god. And I did most of that in one take. Oh my god. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this. It's been a lot of fun doing it. It's actually my first time doing it, and I'm looking forward to doing more of these sort of tags because I've been on Booktube for over a year now. So yeah, it's super exciting. But that is it for me today. Have a lovely day, everybody, and no matter where you are, I hope you're getting some pages turned, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.